Well, good day, my friends. As you can see, got a little bit of Field of Dreams imagery up there because we are in Dyersville, Iowa, the town that they filmed the movie, or at least where the cornfield and the farmhouse were. They have some other museums here in town we're going to check out today. Daze with Joy and the Lion and you all begins right now. Well, they are side by side. You can see this is the If You Build It exhibit, so it's got to be, basically Field of Dreams. But then over here, they have the Hall of Dreams Baseball Museum, so let's check it out. This is going to be great. There's Ray Kinsella's dad up there on the main sign. I love it. So we'll go ahead and start over here at the If You Build It exhibit. Great photo op. I'm loving this place already. Look at that. We didn't get to see corn, but we can see it here. Here's the information about the Black Sox players. That's kind of interesting. It actually names who they were, who the accused, and who the ones that were banned are. George Weaver, Knuckles, but the most famous is Shoeless Joe, of course. There's Ray Liotta. Played him. That's the real Shoeless Joe. They're gonna have to change this because now it says banned for life. He's not banned anymore. They have recently reinstated Shoeless Joe, Pete Rose. Basically, I think what they're doing is once you're dead, you're reinstated. Now this is cool. They have a replica of Shoeless Joe's famous Black Betsy bat. He made that himself, the original. And I think he had a couple of them. But where his museum is, in his old home, they actually have the real one. He gifted it to a neighborhood kid and the kid donated it. Now look at this. That is a real baseball from the 1919 World Series. That's crazy. That's the game. They got all those guys banned against the Cincinnati Reds, famously known as the Black Sox scandal. And this hat was actually worn in the movie. It says that it was worn by Terry Keller, a ghost player in the movie, on loan from the Mulgannon collection. It's a short build 1919 White Sox style hat. It says formerly known as the Sioux City Cornhuskers, the team moved to Chicago in 1900 under the management of Charles Comiskey. The team took on the name the White Stockings. The Chicago Tribune shortened the team's name to Sox for headlines, grabbing the public's attention, and soon resulted in a permanent name change. The interesting thing is that Kevin Costner played this and was like in Bull Durham. He did the movies back to back, and I saw an interview where they asked him, aren't you worried about being pigeonholed just doing baseball movies? He goes, I don't think of them as baseball movies. They're not, they're more about people and situations, so never bothered him. I love that about him. The original name of the movie was called Shoeless Joe, as you can see on the call sheet right there. And of course, James Earl Jones is just amazing, playing Terrence Mann. And Burt Lancaster playing Moonlight Graham, Doc Graham, Timothy Busfield. Big fan of him. This is a jacket from Shoeless Joe. You can see on there it says Shoeless Joe, and it says on here that Kevin Costner promised the director that if Universal started tinkering with the film, that he would back him up. And he said Universal became worried about the bleak fate of other baseball movies, so they wanted to change the name of the movie from Shoeless Joe to Field of Dreams. The director disagreed with the title change, but Universal wouldn't budge. He said, that's like telling me author of the novel that we're changing the name of his book. And they said when they told him they were changing the name of the movie to that, he said he felt sick to his stomach. Here's a little cast and crew pin from Shoeless Joe also.
I was reading the description for the man who played John Kinsella, the dad, and he said that he wrote a book about it called If You Build It.
This is neat. This is talking about the owners of the field, the owners of the farm, making concessions to allow them to build the baseball field and everything they had to do as far as the production. There's kind of a map as to how they were going to lay it out. And then look, this is Moonlight Graham. Wow, look, they have a recreation of the house. So you can sit on the swing. Wow, look at all this. This is great. What is this? Some sort of marketing box with corn stalks in it. What's this, Katie?
Oh, I'm reading about some of the people who helped with the movie. This looks
like
it was
sprinkler system.
Yeah, the sprinkler system.
That's cool. Ray Liotta, James Earl Jones chair. She's the location scout. She's who picked this. So that's kind of cool. They have photos of her out on the location. And then this was the guy who was the farm advisor when they were having all the problems.
It says that he also taught Kevin Costner how to drive the tractor and was his double in some of those scenes.
Yeah, it says in that photo that we just looked at that he's wearing a stunt wig.
It says that great scene where Kevin Costner is digging up the corn in the field to put the field in, that it was actually his stunt double who had Gabby Hoffman on his lap.
Okay.
Doing the driving for that.
This one. So here it looks like they have some of the script on this where you can actually read the pages and everything, and then a recreation of the house. A heck of a lot of fun pics you can take. This one says make your own baseball card. You just grab this thing. And there's some jerseys. But look at that. That is really cool. Then of course the players coming out of the here they're talking about the complications and all the things that they had to do with making the movie. So over here they're talking about how the grass, they had to put sod down to increase it being green because they were having a severe drought that year. And then over here they're talking about the corn and how they had to basically like hit it with water constantly and hit it with artificial light. Then Fog says shortly after shooting the scenes between Ray and Shoeless Joe first meeting, thin layer of fog began to descend over the field. He was told that there was only 5 minutes left of shooting. Man, what do we have over here? Looks like one of the uniforms. And then Ghost players have went, this is talking about how the Ghost players have went all over the world representing the movie. So this is cool. This is talking about turning it into the tourist attraction that it's become. And you can see there Kelsey Grammer, Kevin Costner's been back. But they're talking about here that when it was first opened in 1989, the man who owned the farm, Don Lansing, was gifted this hat by the first visitor to arrive at the field following the film's release. And there he is with the hat. And the reason that it was the Giants hat is because that's what Moonlight Graham, he talks about playing just that one play for John McGraw's New York Giants. And then it was the end of the season, and when he thought about being in the minors after they sent him back down, he just said he couldn't do it, so he became a doctor. So here's a part on Moonlight Graham that says, the character stays true to the real Dr. Archibald Wright Graham, which, if you see the video of Katie and I going out to the filming location, we ended it with going to Moonlight Graham's grave, and it says, when he passed away in 1965, the woman who founded the Chisholm Free Press and Tribune wrote a moving tribute for the late doctor. Veda Panikvar wrote how he was always there for the children of Chisholm. Without any fanfare or publicity, the glasses or the milk or the tickets to the ball game found their way into the child's pocket. Ann Seymour, who plays Panikvar, read the obituary in the movie word for word. And this is talking about how when they filmed the scene at Fenway Park, they had a couple of A-list extras, and it says that when they filmed it, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon were in attendance, and over a decade later, when the director worked with Ben Affleck on The Sum of All Fears, Ben Affleck said, "Nice working with you again," and the director, Robinson, asked, "What do you mean again?" And Affleck told him that he was in this scene. So also in our locations, we went out and sat on the bench, and there's a scene they show right here, says Ray Loves Annie Hart in the bleachers was very briefly shown in the movie as Ray is constructing the ball field, and it was carved by Kevin Costner himself, with killing time in between takes.
And we found it.
You found it. Now this part talks about all the modifications that they made to the house in order to make the movie, or in order to keep the homeowner happy. If you go watch the first time that I went to the Field of Dreams, I actually took the house tour, and that guy tells us all kinds of those details in that video. I'll link it to this one at the end. Now we're gonna go into the Baseball Hall of Dreams part of the museum. I love the first part so far. What'd you find? Oh, Dwyer Brown?
Yeah, he's up there with the kids. That's great.
Yeah, they told me when I took the house tour that he's kind of frequently back here visiting. I love it. Also awesome, never seen this before. If you want to play catch, they have gloves and a baseball in there you can do it with. Can't wait to check this out. Koufax. So this is actually Dwyer Brown's museum, and you can buy all of this stuff signed by him here. That is unique. So it looks like it's a ton of information about different players, and they have a video of him kind of hosting a little bit of the museum. Talking about Native Americans in baseball. Kind of dedicated to a lot of the history of baseball in every aspect. There's Lou Gehrig playing sandlot ball with some neighborhood kids. Babe Ruth. This, they're just talking about the impact of kids and baseball. Here they have a wishing wall where they want you to write down your hopes and dreams and then attach it to this wall. And they have Brooks Robinson telling his story right here. He's actually answering how he got into baseball and how he had setbacks along the way. He had an Army obligation in 1958. And there he has filled out a questionnaire, which I love. That's so cool. Like for kids. And then this is showing how a bat is made, how it goes from like that piece of wood to continuing on until it looks like that. These are all old gloves that you can use if you want to play catch. That shows you what a baseball is made of, how it ends up looking like that. Here they have some local history, because as we saw, the White Sox were from this area, Dubuque County. We're actually right up here right now, but they show the Dubuque Red Stockings right there, aka the Rabbits. And this guy, Tom Loftus, was the manager, and he managed the Reds and the Cubs at different times. So this is Urban Red Faber, and Red is shaking hands with Babe Ruth, of course. It said during Faber Day at Comiskey Park in 1929, he was actually born just 30 miles from the Field of Dreams. He played with Shoeless Joe Jackson, and he was 3 for 4 during the 1917 World Series. It says he missed the 1919 World Series due to lingering effects of the Spanish flu. Or he might have been banned from baseball, so who knows. And over here, they have information on Jackie Robinson, becoming the first African American. Here he is when he was in Montreal in the farm system. And there he is signing autographs. This is neat. This is about disabled players. And that's Jim Abbott, who, as you can see here, doesn't have a hand. What he does is he actually holds the glove under his arm, throws the ball, and while the ball is being delivered, he puts the glove on. And then that is Three Fingers Brown's hand. And then this was William Dummy Hoy, and he was deaf. Says that he was tremendous on the field as a batter, base runner, and fielder, and it said that the umpire's safe and out signals were first used so that he would see the calls because he couldn't hear them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This is cool. This is celebrities in baseball, or funny things in baseball. There's Lou Gehrig with the Marx Brothers. And there's Laurel and Hardy. And here's W.C. Fields with Joe DiMaggio. Here you've got Joe DiMaggio with Lou Costello. And then I love this. Harpo. Oh, the Three Stooges in Cubs uniforms. Here's Buster Keaton doing a publicity photo with Viola Dana. And then they're showing that George Carlin had a baseball bit in his comedy act. There's some more of the memorabilia you can get on the way out. Signed mini bats. Photo of him with Kevin Costner. Even baseball cards. They also have jerseys. Some of these famous people playing baseball. Robin Williams. Peter Falk. Superimposed Bronson Arroyo and Charles Bronson together. It's kind of funny. Marilyn. Babe Ruth. Hey, Al Pacino. Well, sweetheart, what did you think? We got to see, if they've been watching, we got to see the filming locations, and we also got to see, I've never been to these museums, and both times I'm here. Pretty fun.
These are so terrific. They were saying that this is the only like celebrity-run museum, so that's very cool.
Yeah, he was in the movie and actually started his own baseball museum. It's not a movie museum. he sells
Baseball
signed
history,
stuff by him,
things like
but it
that.
is literally about the entire history of the ball, the bat, the players, the game
Everything.
itself.
It's very, very cool. If you're a baseball fan, this is something you're going to enjoy for sure.
Yeah, and it's also great because, like we showed you, it's right beside the If You Build It, which is all about the movie. So if you love the movie, you came out here, saw the site, and then went there, you can come right over here and actually
You'll enjoy
get
this.
something signed by one of the actors from the movie. That is so cool. Well, we're going to call it a day from Dyersville, Iowa.
Iowa.
Have a great night, everyone, and goodbye.